Hello, welcome to another episode of the Interstellar Business Show. My name is Andrew Ball. This week I'm joined by Trav Bell, the bucket list guy. So guess what? We're going to be talking all about bucket lists. And we're not going to be just talking about bungee jumping. We're going to be talking about something much bigger than that. And we're not going to be just talking about lists of the future. We're going to be talking about tangible lists of now and we're going to be reflecting of the lists and things that you've checked off in your past too. So this is going to be an awesome episode, and if you're interested in writing or creating a bucket list and working through things on your list, then this is going to be a great episode for you to tune in and watch to the very end. But before I get into my conversation with Trav, I've just got a short message I want to share with you, which is about my Interstellar report, which I've designed for business leaders and business experts just like you. Here's the message.
Are you a free-thinking business leader? We have a report you must see. It's a personalized report that reveals your strengths and weaknesses. Head to interstellar.report and get your free report today. Test yourself at interstellar.report.
So I'm just checking out your website. You've got some good stuff going on there. Seems like you've been doing this a while.
I have. It's I've been the bucket list guy for about 10 years now. So it is lots going on.
All right, cool.
What about yourself?
Yeah, I got my stories. I got made redundant about 2015, and since there, to be honest, it's been a bit of a journey to work out what the hell to do and how to do it. And I think working out the puzzle of consulting, coaching, and being a service provider, which is it's quite complicated to unbox all that stuff, and kind of got to the point now where I do actually understand it all and how it works. Made many of the mistakes along the way, like a lot of people, but getting there now, which is the main thing. Just at the moment, a bit of a kick in the teeth, I suppose, in some respects, just because you work so hard to get going, and then something like this comes up. But that's just that's just life, isn't it? So you just got to suck it up and we go again. That's it.
Yeah, well, it's the So if you're going to do coaching, speaking, consulting, and that sort of thing, it's what they call a thought leadership practice, and there's kind of 6 ways. The hardest thing about doing this kind of thing is staying in your lane and not doing everything else. Pick a highway, then pick a lane and stay in that lane, and put the blinkers on and be a thought leader or an expert in that thing and that thing only, as good as you possibly can. There's 6 streams of income that you should be able to make out of a thought leadership practice. That being speaking, authoring, coaching, mentoring, facilitation, and training. And they should be 6, you don't have to do all 6 at once, but
sure.
You know what I mean? You're going to have your favorites over others.
Yeah.
And for me, that's been obviously bucket list guy. Bucket list has been my thought leadership practice, and I love speaking. So that's where I find flow. Me sitting down writing books is not really my thing.
Yes. So you found your sweet spot, I guess. And
it took a while. And someone actually called me the bucket list guy, 10 years ago. So that really helped solidify the blinkers and the filter that I did all my, that I got my expertness out to the world through. And I think that's really important to find that thing that you're known for. Yeah. Because jack of all trades, master of none won't get you anywhere.
Yeah. I think it's too much of a temptation to do that. And I think with so much knowledge, it's almost like there's this huge knowledge tree out there, and you can overindulge on it in some ways. We live in an infobesity society. There's too much information. Yeah, totally. So it's great that you came up with a bucket list guy, because I think that's a really effective way of connecting and building a reputation. Because I suppose for you, it's like it works in a great word of mouth way for you that people probably say, hey, have you met the bucket list guy yet? Or have you spoken to that guy? And I guess that's where it evolved from, right?
Yeah, I've done a lot of stuff around this, and it's about helping people find their own, their own online superhero. What's their version of the bucket list guy? What's their version of whatever that expertness? That, the bucket list guy, I get called more the bucket list guy than my actual fucking name. So Trav Bell. So some people, I go to a networking event and I'll be like, hey, bucket list guy. I used to have a mohawk, and which was my fuck you 40 haircut.
Yeah.
And it was more readily identifiable. I tell you, that was more readily identifiable than my own name. So it kind of, I run with it. And that was my point of call for websites and that sort of thing as well. So I'm just putting on some food. The bucket list guy was more, there's more call to attention. It got more attention than just Trav Bell.
Sure. Yeah. And it's more, it's more memorable, and I guess it's going to, if people Google you, you probably end up number one in the rankings as well, which is very helpful. Yeah, as well.
And then you got to create. Then you got to create all the IP off it, which is the journey.
So what does the bucket list guy mean anyway? Who is the bucket? I know
are we recording?
Yeah, we're recording right now.
Oh shit!
That's fine. No, do you know what? I was going to say to you, let's start. Normally I start, but just because we were talking and like rolling into it anyway, I just thought let's just naturally flow into it. Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. It's going to be no different. So, what was the question?
So what does Sorry, I'm not trying to pull a fast one on you at all. It was just like the conversation was flowing great. So, like, what does the bucket list guy? What does he do anyway?
Yeah, look, initially it was my excuse to run around the world doing my bucket list and have that be a tax deduction. So no, it was originally about like I went from having a big chain of personal fitness training studios around Australia, had my own little breakdown before breakthrough moment. And then I put on a seminar from all the life coaching, NLP, and all the positive psychology that I'd learnt to help me get through my own breakdown before breakthrough kind of moment. And then a friend of mine said, hey, why don't you teach this shit? All this personal development stuff. And, I've walked on fire, I've broken boards, and I've cried on the shoulders of strangers and broken arrows and bent bars and all that sort of thing. He's like, why don't you teach this stuff? And it helped me really compartmentalize what I was kind of going through, that I was in all of these, trainings and spending hundreds of thousands on helping me. And I put on a seminar, and then at the end of the seminar, I packaged in everything that I learned. And at the end of the seminar, a friend who was at the seminar said, oh, how's all this list to do before you die stuff? It's like a bucket list. You're like the bucket list guy. And I went home and registered the domain name, the bucket list guy. And I was kind of trying to find my feet in this world as well, like in this thought leadership kind of world of where is my, I know I'm not Tony Robbins. I know I'm not one of these kind of gurus. I won't try and be, but what's my thing? And a lot of people ask themselves this, and I dare say a lot of people are going to be asking themselves, during this COVID, the COVID cyclone that we find ourselves in right now. Yeah. So, initially my sweet spot was I used to have a fear around public speaking, but I really don't. And that was, for me, public speaking was the big domino that I thought, if I push that over, being one of the biggest fears for me and for others, that I could achieve a lot of other things in my life. So I just set about becoming a professional speaker, and that was the big domino that affected a lot of areas in my life. So if I could run around, the thought was, if I could run around the world, keynoting, big conferences, inspiring people, developing some intellectual property around bucket list, and that helps me to run around the world doing my personal list as well, then double bonus. So, but really it's the theme of Bucket List, the brand of Bucket List, is really a skin over the top of positive psychology. Positive psychology is really the science of happiness. How do we help more people find more meaning in their lives, more purpose, and also more fulfillment? And if I'm doing that for people, that's my highest value. I don't feel like I'm being congruent to who I am if I'm actually not helping people achieve those things in life. So
it's the the social feeling helps you get contentment.
I've been my previous business, I was chain of personal training studio. So I've always helped people, educated by trade, and I always loved helping people experience more of their own potential. First 20 years was PT, and now the next 20 years maybe PD, personal development. That was about just health and fitness. Now it's about life, and I get a lot more satisfaction out of helping people do amazing things in their life, because life is way too short. It's a really big cliche, but look at the rate of depression, we've got this thing called the loneliness epidemic now. Look at the amount of people just sleepwalking through their lives. Look at the amount of people that are just disengaged in their life as well. Like 70 to 80% of people who go to work every day don't like what they do. They're actually called disengaged. Like, what the fuck is going wrong there? Like so it's a filter to help people, really help them live a life more of their own design, and, help them be happier now rather than in this delayed gratification society, I'll be happy when syndrome later on.
Yeah.
So, waiting for the perfect time or someday to come around, and someday ain't no day of the week, So I want to help people be happier now rather than, waiting.
Yeah, that's what I really buy into as well, because I think too many people are like either living in the past in terms of what could have been or should have been, or blaming other people or bad situations, or they're focusing too much on the future and they're not really digging in to the moment and enjoying whatever is like. Because if you look at the situation now, I'm locked down in my house, but actually I'm trying to make more of the time with my son in the garden and have more of those amazing times with him, and trying to focus on the positives of right now rather than go, oh, I can't wait in 6 months till we can get outside again.
Yeah.
And probably have less time together.
Yeah, I really hope that we do create a new normal for ourselves and society, and we do appreciate and are in gratitude of spending more time with our families and getting creative. And people right now are adapting, innovating, radically collaborating like we are now more than ever before. It's fantastic. This was after the initial fear and the initial acceptance of the situation, our lot in life for the moment. I hope some of these new habits stick. I hope we don't go back to just being busy, being busy. Because, for me, my whole existence is about helping people take time out of their lives to work on their lives, creating whether it be a seminar, whether it be an event, or whether it be a coaching program or whatever it might be, is to take them, help them, separate their to-do list from their bucket list. Because I think they're so busy on their to-do list.
Yeah.
That's what they prioritize on a day-to-day basis. We're going to shift that.
Yeah, and I totally get that the busy, we just, I think that's part of, that's a deep psychological problem that people have, feeling the need to be busy with busy stuff in order to value themselves. I think that's probably
totally. Percent. Yeah, it's like this weird fucked up badge of honor that we use on a day-to-day basis now. It's like, how are you, mate? Oh, I'm busy. Yeah, busy as a one-armed drummer. Like, are you bragging or complaining? What do you Now I try and say nothing, because I'm sick of myself saying I'm busy. Like, everyone's busy. Are you good busy or bad busy?
Yeah,
that's
you have to put some
the
quality
subsection
on it.
of that. I'm sick of me saying it. I'm sick of other people saying it. Rarely will you'll come across someone and say, "How are you, mate?" Oh, look, I've got all the time in the world to be present to what we're doing here right now and having this chat with you. So, you'll never hear that.
Yes, it's true. It's true. Yeah, it's always like they're rushing to the next thing. Again, it comes back to living in the future. So that's an interesting tension point for me that I've just been thinking about. Is so the bucket list is in a way about the future. In a way, if you write a bucket list, it's for something you're going to do in the future. But then I'm just exploring how the tension of that works with then living in the moment.
Yeah, and it's bucket list is a series of things that light you up, that personally light you up, that bring you that meaning, purpose, and fulfillment in your life. It's a tangible end step, but it's really not just about a bucket list. It's about really how a person identifies that goal, that where they want to go, or the thing that they want to do, and how a person reverse engineers their life in order to make that stuff come to fruition. It's the growth of them on that journey towards that destination. But more importantly, it's about the you that exists on the other side of it, the person that you don't know yet, right? The bigger version of you. And that's what a lot of people, one of the catch cries in my TED talk, I say, people are dying at 40 and being buried at 80. People have this midlife crisis and they really buy into it and they just give up. And I'd like to think that we flip the script and we have, help people have a midlife awakening, as cheesy as that sounds. And it's all about helping people realize and experience their potential, that they didn't think they may have had. And again, whether it's be peer group, family, society, education, that have all contributed to that. Is like, oh, you're a certain age, that'll do now. I want to help people, on that journey. Obviously, using the theme of bucket list, but really it's about helping people, realize their potential. And it's it is like, it's really weird, mate. Like of people always saying, "Thank you for giving me permission to dream again." Who's like, that's something I hear like every other day.
But they shouldn't even need your permission though. Like that should come from them, which is interesting, because it makes me think about the institution of our lifestyles. The fact that people are so used to a certain way of living and working and growing, like you leave school, go to college, university, you get your job, turn up 9 to 5, come home, get drunk, chill out a bit at the weekend, and it all goes round until you get old and die. Right? It's which is a really depressing way to sum it up, but that's how a lot of people, like, they commit, because they see it as
it's from an outsider's point of view. Sorry to interrupt there, but if you were some weird alien and like looking down on that and that was the script for the people on Earth, the alien would be going, "What? Really? That's what life is all about." It's so bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
My problem is, like, we're all, that's all part of it. I get it. That's society. The thing is that there's too many examples of people, in my world at least, that have broken this, been not happy with the role that they've been playing in the movie of their life and jumped out of character to do the things that they truly want to do. My problem is that scenario that you just gave. The rate of depression is going up. The rate of teenage depression is going up. The rate of overprescription of antidepressants is going up too as a result. Now, that's a problem. Something has to change, and that was already a problem pre-coronavirus. And so, look, I'm doing my bit to hopefully change the conversation, to give, not telling people how they should live, need to, must, have to, or anything like that, because that's really me presuming my model of the world is better than theirs. That's an outlandish assumption to make. But it's just about offering people a different perspective.
Don't miss out on future episodes. Be sure to subscribe to our show and keep notifications on.
I know you obviously have a lot of people who work with you. So one of the things that crossed my mind is that obviously as you get older, a lot of people have a family, and then you find some kind of contentment and fulfillment from a family, but then you have that empty bird nest syndrome. So do you find that actually you have a lot of people who've got that empty bird nest syndrome, and it's at that moment where they're like, actually, what am I doing? Because they've got, and what am I doing now with my life for the next 20 years or so?
Yeah, look, there's no certain, ideal scenario where this works, who it works with, an ideal client it works with. People who are unhappy or need, who want to put the icing on the cake, so to speak, who want something extra for themselves. And I use the word fulfillment a lot. On a scale, not everyone, my stuff is not applicable to everyone, granted. But if I ask people, on a scale of, 1 to 10, 10 being really fulfilled, I've got everything that I want in life, not materially, by the way, just what I want in life and where I'm at in life and a sense of fulfillment, or one is the opposite to that, where would you be? And, okay, what do we got to do to close that gap to get it closer to 10? And that's I haven't met too many people that have 10 out of 10 every area of their life. There's something maybe missing. I don't know. But again, it comes down to the individual. People will seek my information or any sort of personal development, life coaching, whatever it is. They'll go to a book or a seminar, watch something on YouTube for a particular reason. There's a gap that they want to close. There's something that they want answers to. And what neurolinguistic programming teaches us is 50% of the problem is solved when a person actually puts up their hand and says, you know what, I need help. There's an admittance of a gap. There's admittance of some extra information needed here because I don't have all the answers, or there's an admission of outsourcing. And then cool, you can work with someone like that. The last thing you want to do is someone like me, a motivational speaker, comes in and go, you should, you must, you have to. It's like, piss off, mate. Like I'm good. I don't need your shit. So I'm good. But you can be in the same room with an audience full of people. You can be the right place at the right time. And then at the end of the talk or the end of the session or whatever, you'll get tears, you'll get breakthrough moments, you get those massive ahas from some others. And then, people are all at the precipice of change at different times in life, and some will just walk out the door and go, yeah, that was a bit of fun. So cool. It just depends on the person.
Yeah, and I think, obviously different people at different points in their life, but you do have to be open to change to start with. Otherwise, like you said, you're just trying to push people down a path that they're not interested in. So yeah, waste of everyone's time. So there's not a certain point in life people experience. What's the youngest person who's coming to your program, and what's the oldest person though? I'd be interested, or even if you've got a ballpark.
Oh, mate, we've done. I've had 10-year-olds. I did a program a few years ago. I spoke for half a day at a company, and we had 250 odd people in the audience. And I did a morning session a little bit briefer, and then at the afternoon session, I said, look, and it was a public event, so people could bring other people in, and I said, look, guys, over lunchtime, if I know you all live locally, all local business owners, who here has got teenage kids? And half the room put up their hand. I said, what are they doing this afternoon? I said, bring them in, because what I'm going to tell you this afternoon is not just for you older adults who could be going through a midlife crisis. It's for everyone. And the room doubled in size with these teenage kids, and they got some of the biggest breakthroughs ever. And it stuck. This is a cool way of goal setting. That's the other question that you had about before about bucket list being in the future. there's three sorts of lists that I teach anyway. There's a future bucket list, which is obvious. There's a reverse bucket list, which is your done list, which is all the stuff that you've done in your life as if it were on a bucket list all the way along. And that's a big gratitude exercise, something I haven't talked about yet, but that's a big reconciliation of all those things that have lit you up. And some people, when I asked, all right, think of 5 things that you've done in your life as if they were on a bucket list all the way along. And the mind goes, all right, yep. And they can be whatever they are is important to you. Now, if I ask people to do that straight away, people really struggle to come up with 5. But if I ask 3, that's a little bit easier. So, but identifying all these things that you've done in your life as if it were on a bucket list all the way along gives a person confidence, gives a person that sense of gratitude, gives that person a sense of, shit, I've been living kind of more by default. What if I actually put some effort into designing? So rather than living by default, we live by design. So we've got the future bucket list, the reverse bucket list, and in the middle is the other list called the fucket list. That's all the stuff that I come out to, when I speak, I come out to this opening video, and I've got some stuff on the YouTube and all that sort of thing. And the climbing mountains and the doing surfing big waves, and you got the Ironmans and all that sort of stuff. A lot of people see those sort of things and they go, fuck that, I don't want to do that. I'm too old for that shit. So that goes on that list. But at the end of the day, it's very important to have a sense of the gratitude stuff. That's really, really important, because that gives a really solid foundation for a lot of people to go, shit, right. So that's that gives me an overwhelming sense of I can do whatever I want to do in life. It does. And this whole concept sort of morphs when you get kids, and mine's certainly changed. I've got 4 kids now, and running. It's not just running around the world doing stupid shit. Now I can do that stupid shit with them, which is great.
That's cool. That's cool.
But yeah, like if people go to my TED talk, I created some intellectual property not too long ago called the My Bucket List Blueprint, and it's a 12-letter acronym for how to create a personally meaningful and holistic bucket list. And you go through it, and it helps you extract and articulate this personally meaningful list. And it's 12 steps. It sounds a little bit like AA. You might need a drink at the end of it. But it really helps you go north, south, east, west in your own brain. And it's not just about travel, which is what a lot of people think of bucket lists. It's not just about travel. It's about the kind acts you can do for other people. It's the big challenges that you want to do for yourself, the things that you want to be really proud of before your time is up, the things that you want to learn, the legacy that you want to leave, the people that you want to meet in your life. There's heaps, and it really helps you identify small things as well as the big things, because travel, I've got a problem with that. And especially now, we can't do it. Right in the middle of the coronavirus, there's lockdowns everywhere. So we've got, travel takes a lot of time and normally takes a fair bit of money to do. So that's why bucket list has got a bit of a negative connotation about it. And
whether it's just for the jet set and the elite, you mean?
It's not. Yeah, it's certainly not. This really helps. Like, mate, I've done sessions with people, and it just sparks, the creative juices. It gets people off the fence and makes decisions about the things that really light them up. So, I think it was a real estate company. I had 5 ladies in this real estate company go and do crochet classes together. I didn't even know what the fuck crochet was, and it doesn't matter. No judgment. So it doesn't matter. It's not my thing. I had another dude buy a piano. We do this really intense kind of exercise where he bought a piano and bought piano lessons. I had all the obvious stuff like marathons, and it's kind of yawn. We all do that kind of stuff as part of our bucket. It's all the travel. But a lot of people, I say, instead of the big expensive kind of travel, be a tourist in your own town first. Be a tourist in your own town first. It's how you're choosing happiness. Am I designing my day? Am I designing my life? Am I involving the people around me in my ecosystem to go after the things that we really want to go after? Create a family bucket list. Have everyone have their own individual bucket list. Have a partner bucket list. And that's what's really cool as well. So we do programs around all this stuff and unpack, these things. And I don't know what's going to come out of people. That's the beauty of it. The richness of what people have done, the richness of their stories is phenomenal. But the things that people want to do are so out there.
Head to interstellar.show and find all the resources mentioned in today's episode. Plus, discover powerful training which will help you grow, work, and live smarter. Visit interstellar.show today and begin your adventure.
Do people have social goals as well, like to contribute? Is that something that comes up?
Yeah, like you got two types of goals, right, Andrew? So you got two types of goals, and you've got a habit goal, and you've also got an achievement goal. What I'm talking about here with bucket list is more of an achievement goal. That's when you can actually, achieve something, and you'll love this, and you can say, "I've tick it before you kick it." So that's our that's this annoying green sign. If you put that into social media, you'll see our coaches and clients around the world ticking stuff off their bucket list, and that's an achievement goal. So there's got to be an end step, a tangible end step. But if you say, I'm going to drink, 4 liters of water today and go on, I'm going to run every day. Well, that's more of a habit goal than an achievement goal. Sure, the habit goals might be leading up to an achievement goal, but contributing every day, being a nice person is obviously that's not a bucket list item. That's just something you should do as a nice human being. But doing a kind act for others, we've had people launch charities. We've had people anonymously. I'm saying that wrong.
That's okay.
Privately,
anonymously. Yeah, it's a hard one. Yeah, I struggle with that one.
I'm tripping. Donate a certain amount of money, contribute to a certain charity at a certain amount. So these are more achievement-based goals rather than these habit kind of goals.
Okay, cool. And so you've got a mixture of those with your people. And are there any particular really stories of transformation that have started? I know you can't share individual confidential details, but is there any individual stories of real life transformation that you could share?
Oh yes, I can. They've actually said I can. So I've got a. Here's a really good one. There was a guy. I used to run an event called the Bucket List Experience when I first started this, and I think it was about 160. Yeah, it was about 160 kilograms. His name was Cam, and Cam was depressed on antidepressants. He was borderline alcoholic. He was didn't have a relationship. He was obviously morbidly obese. He was just a really kind of negative person to be around. And his mate dragged him because he was a biker, motorbike rider, and he wasn't in a good place, and he hated his job. Anyway, his friend basically paid for him and dragged him along to my event, and it was a 3-day event. And everyone's getting these breakthroughs, and Cam's just sitting at the back of the room doing this, going, "Fuck, I don't want to be here." And his mate's going, "Come on, mate, come on." And as soon as we'd break, he'd go out, have a ciggy, and just didn't want to be there. And I said to Cam, "Oh, look, mate, on the last, it's the last day today. Just do something. I want everyone to leave here with something done. something actioned on their list at least. And a lot of people have actioned a lot of stuff on their bucket list while they were in the event. I said, Cam, you haven't done anything. Do something, mate. And he goes, oh, fuck it. So he went out and he came back in and he goes, yep, done. That'll make you happy, in a smart ass kind of tone. What did you do, mate? I entered a 5K run. And he goes, I'm not a fucking runner, and I just did it to just keep you happy. But I could see a little glint in his eye. Something happened. True story. Anyway, he left and we shook hands. I didn't really hear anything of it. He connected with me on Facebook, and his mate I know really well. And he's like, well, you've done something to him, mate. You've done something to Cam. I said, what do you mean? He's actually been training. He's been training for this 5K run. You've got under his skin, I think. I said, no. He was ready. He was ready. There was a part of him that was ready. Not all of him, but it was a part of him that was ready. Anyway, I went and saw him come across the line for this 5K run. Now, by this time, he lost a little bit of weight. He was still drinking, not as much medication from what I can remember. Up in there, like in the MCG in Melbourne, if you've ever come, it can house like over 100,000 people for AFL football, and that's where our grand finals are played. So it's called the Run to the G, and you run into the MCG, and you've got the big walls of screens, and you can see yourself up on the big screen. He's got the participation T-shirt on. He finished. He was absolutely fucked. He put the big participation medal around his neck. It was really heavy. He had his family up in the stands going, this is so out of character for Cam. And he was as proud as punch. We've man hugged it out. And I'm like, yeah, good on you, bro, all that sort of thing. The same day, that night, he went home and registered for a 10K run.
Wow.
He did the 10K run, slowly got off the drink, slowly got off the meds, trained, lost more weight, started to be happier. Finished the 10K run. On the night of the 10K run, entered a half marathon, and the story goes, on the end of the half marathon, entered the full marathon. I've got goosebumps. And then he entered a half Ironman, then entered an Ironman, full blown Ironman. And I remember going to the Ironman, being what they called a catcher. This is a Melbourne Ironman. This is 3.8K swim. 3.8K, so 180K bike ride in a marathon.
Wow, that's
intense.
And I was
there only years earlier, 2-3 years earlier, of him entering his first 5K run. As a catcher, the catchers are there for the last people to come in and literally catch them, because they're just coming. He got there 15 minutes before midnight, and midnight was the cutoff point. So he came in with the glow sticks, in the marathon. He was bleeding everywhere because he chafed the shit out of himself. And he was that spent, but that proud at that time in his life. New relationship, new job, making more money, new friend group, off the drink, off medication, no depression anywhere. Couldn't have been prouder.
Wow, that's just such a fantastic story. Awesome. That's such great work, Trav. You must be proud to be part of that. I know it's, a lot of it comes from him, but you must be proud to be part of that journey.
Yeah, mate. And there's lots of examples like that. There's lots of examples like that. And one other one, this is more of a funnier one, had this Qantas airline pilot, Steve. Now, Steve, same sort of event. He left, I get him to do stuff. He comes back in. I give him 10 minutes and they've got to action something on their bucket list. Anyway, he came back in and he was white. Everyone had to do something. He came back in. Steve was white. Now, he's a very engineering type kind of guy, smart dude, but, didn't have a big personality, quite introvert. He came back in and he was white. I could literally see his complex had changed. I'm like, dude, what did you do? And he goes, what the fuck did you make me do? And Steve, it is in front of everyone. There's another 20 people in the room. And Steve, what did you do? And he goes, he's just nodding, just shaking his head. And dude, tell us, what did you do? He goes, I can't believe it. He goes, I just signed up to an open mic night and I'm doing a stand-up comedy gig. And we all, the whole room just went, and really in the back of our mind we're going, dude, you're not fucking funny. You know, you're not funny. And he goes, nah, but Trav and everyone, like, it gets worse. Dude, how could it get worse? Because that's a ballsy move, you know, like stand-up comedy. He goes, no, it gets worse. How could that get worse? He goes, I don't know. I got caught up in the moment. I went onto Facebook and I told everyone when it was going to be and where. And we all just went, ooh. You know, like that's
invest in deep. Yeah.
Yeah. And everyone's like, I'm coming, unreal, mate. Here's the story. Here's the thing. He did it. He was actually funny. He filmed it. He sent the GoPro footage to me. He did it twice. At the end of it, that gave him the courage to open up a business that him and his brother have been talking about for 6 years, a real estate company, a property development company. It also gave him the courage to get out of a toxic relationship and then ask a girl that he'd been afraid of asking out for years, and he asked her out and she said yes. And since then, he gave me a LinkedIn recommendation and a testimonial that's like this long. It's just like how much that moment changed his life. That was the pebble in the pond that sent a ripple effect, obviously not, you know, into different areas of his life. And that's the beauty of this, is maybe I have to put them in a headlock to get them to do it at the time. But at the end of the day, it's amazing when you actually track the ripple effect, how broad and how wide, you know, it goes. It's really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, like the knock-on effect. That's brilliant. Have you got any final tips for people who've tuned into the show today for like how they can start taking action right now with their bucket list?
Well, the right now, I think we've got the whole world's taking a big deep breath in to recalibrate. And I encourage people to maybe go to they can go to my site or go to YouTube and look at my probably go to YouTube. It'd be best to check out Life's Too Short by Trav Bell, and I go through the blueprint. And I'd love to happy to be everyone's bucket list personal trainer. Report in to me and Andrew as to what you've put on your list, and then more importantly, what have you actioned, and see how expansive it was. And stop. And whatever you do, don't compare yourself against other people. Don't compare, yourself about, it's just you, and go with your heart, not your head, about what you want to truly do in life, and that will keep you busy. I mean, at the end of the day, it'll help you. I say a bucket list is a tangible life plan, where our career plan or our business plan should fit into our life plan and not be the other way around. So this will really help you. If you get engaged in that, you'll be really engaged in your business, because it'll give you a bigger sense of why. Yeah, it'll pull you out of bed in the morning rather than you having to push yourself. So hopefully that gives some people some ideas and inspiration.
Definitely. Yeah, this video will be going up on YouTube. So if you want to comment on this video and leave us some ideas of what you're going to add to your bucket list, that would be great. I'll share the link with Travis, and he'll probably follow the video and comment back on your stuff.
Love to.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show today, Trav. Really great to have you.
No worries at all, man.
All right. Thanks very much. All right. Good to speak to you. Bye, Alan.
Thanks for listening to the Interstellar Business Show. This podcast was sponsored by the Interstellar Report. Ready to discover the powerful forces that influence the success of leaders like you? Head to interstellar.report and grab this brilliant resource. A personalized report which reveals your strengths and weaknesses in 6 key areas. Visit interstellar.report and discover the insights, roadblocks, and opportunities you've been missing. Plus, get free personalized training that will help you grow, work, and live smarter. Go to interstellar.report today and start your adventure.